Hi, this is Bill Smith from Trek Geeks, and you're listening to 5-Year Mission, the podcast. I don't know why, but you are. So there's that.
Coconut. 5-Year Mission, the podcast. Episode 26.
This episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast, is brought to you by Fansets, your home for all things pop culture pin related. Head over to fansets.com and see all that they have to offer. And also stay tuned at the end of the episode for a very special offer from us here at 5-Year Mission.
By now you figured out that this is the 5-Year Mission podcast.
Speaking of train wrecks, welcome to another episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast, starring 5-Year Mission, the only podcast hosted by a band called 5-Year Mission that plays songs about Star Trek. I'm Andy Fark. We got 3 other members of 5-Year Mission with us tonight, not just one other, not just 2 other, but 3 other. We got Mike Rittenhouse. He's up there in the left-hand corner, Brady Bunch style.
No one can see him.
We got Chris Spurgeon down in my right corner.
I'm up in the upper left or upper right on mine.
Well, see, we're all
making
different.
Things really confusing here.
I'm sorry. Well, just remember, you are where you are. We're all where we are.
That's true. It's very
Let's keep it that way. And last, but of course least, my bottom left-hand corner, Noah Butler, who needs a haircut about as bad as I do right now. Damn, that is some hair you got, sir.
Is there.
Whew.
It's growing.
Man, what do your students think of that hair right now?
They're used to it. They haven't seen anything different. It's only gone from like shaggy to more shaggy.
Shaggy to like if like David Spade developed like a heroin habit.
Yeah. No, I was at a rural king down in the country.
Whoa.
A what?
Checking out at the counter.
Sort of like a country, even more country Walmart.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but it's a king. It's the rural king. Yeah. And as I was checking out, the girl goes, "You know what?" This is exactly how she talked to me. "You know what? You look like David Spade." And I thought, how the hell do you know who David Spade is? That is this 1995.
Y'all don't get Saturday Night Live in the city? What are you talking about? You don't know who David Spade is?
They might just be getting the reruns now.
they're just now getting like the bye-bye sketch down there. All right, enough of the silliness. We got serious business to get down here tonight with this episode.
We do.
Tonight we are playing fantasy Star Trek. We figure it is almost the end of regular football season. Everyone's playing fantasy. Why can't we play fantasy?
That's how we did this?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
That's why I came up with this idea.
No, I don't play fantasy football. So
I used to, but hey, we talk Star Trek on here, so I figure we could do fantasy Star Trek, and we're gonna build our own bridge crew here and see who is the best bridge crew in the end.
So do we win something if our crew wins?
You win a giant lack of my admiration.
I already have that.
That's true.
How do you win? How would you win?
We could have listeners vote later.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the season, if our crew wins,
okay.
we pick the right ones.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Total sense.
So we're going to go into specific little order here, and we're going to start off by drafting our doctor. So, Mike, who do you got under your doctor category there?
So for the doctor, my choice is the doctor.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
Robert Picardo from Voyager.
You had the doctor written all over your face.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, there's some kind of smudge on your face, but it definitely does not say doctor.
I almost went with Bashir because he's pretty awesome. But I mean, if I'm assembling
past season 2,
yeah, no one wants season 1 Bashir.
No.
He was creep.
But if I'm, he is all like enhanced and everything. But if I'm assembling like the ultimate crew, I have to go with the ultimate doctor, and there's no better doctor than the doctor.
Why?
Because he can do anything. He's a hologram.
But what if someone turns him off?
What
Well,
if there's
then I'm
power
screwed.
What do you
fluctuations?
do? Oh, then he's screwed, he says. Okay, then strong choice.
Then
Turn
you
him off and turn
on.
it back on, and yeah. If the IT crowd taught us anything, that's immediately what you do.
Yeah.
Before you even ask a question.
If your doctor, whoever you pick, gets sick, my doctor, you just turn him off and back on, and he's fine. He reboots.
What if the doctor gets a virus, like a computer virus?
Obviously,
Badgie.
you haven't watched
Essentially being
season
sick.
2 of Voyager.
I've seen all of Voyager. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure if that's really anything to brag about, Chris.
I liked Voyager.
I know. I think I'm the outlier, and of course Noah's never going to watch Voyager. So
Noah doesn't know what Voyager is.
that was one of them space shuttles, right?
Is that show about all them women in prison?
No, that's Caged Heat.
I like that one.
All right. Chris, what do you got? Who do you have for your doctor?
So for my doctor, I went with Phlox.
Of course, yeah.
Because, well, I mean, you love John Billingsley, obviously.
Well, yeah, we do love Billingsley.
But also, he's very unconventional. He's got all the creatures in his lab, I guess, or whatever you call it, his office. And he's really inventive. He's had a lot of experience across a lot of different species. So he's just, he's got the knowledge, the personality. He gets a little crazy sometimes, but I like Phlox.
Yeah, that was always my thing with Phlox, is that like when Bashir first comes aboard like Deep Space Nine, he's always talking about, I wanted to come out here and prove myself and practice like basically frontier medicine.
Yeah,
Phlox was like the innovator on that. He had to just going by on a wing and a prayer. Someone gets sick. He was like, what if I squeeze some juice from this random animal over here and mix it with some space dust?
Exactly.
Maybe it's a COVID vaccine.
He's exactly an innovator. He's like the true essence of what a doctor should be in space, because you never know what you're going to come across, and when he comes across something, he figures it out. Now, you could argue that Bones was much the same way, because whenever the Enterprise crew would come across some weird ailment or whatever, Bones would dig in Omega Glory, he had to figure that out. All he had to work with was whatever he had in that little lab on the planet. So, Bones is a good secondary choice, but I love Phlox, so I got to go with him first.
Agreed. Speaking of Bones, that's who I chose for my doctor.
Oh, well.
I chose Bones mainly because as far as his bedside manner goes, it could be a little bit better, but I also kind of want a doctor to where, like, if I'm hesitant about like getting like a procedure done or something, I want somebody to be there that's just like, don't be a dumbass, just do it. I want a doctor that I can, once we're all wrapped up and the nerves have settled, we can just go grab a drink.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. And oh boy, hey Noah.
Yeah.
Who do you got for your doctor?
Who?
Well,
Doctor.
No, chose Doctor Who.
Never.
No, it chose the 11th Doctor.
Matt Smith.
I need some clarification first on this. So, like, what do you mean by doctor when I'm picking this? Like, what exactly?
A medical professional.
Okay. Okay. Then
not
I guess
Dr. Octopus.
I would probably go with the 2-1B medical droid. I mean, he helped Luke when he was attacked by the Wampa and almost froze. He had reattached his hand. So, I mean, I mean, I know there are problems with robots and droids, much like the holograms.
My choice is basically a robot.
Yeah.
True. An artificial intelligence.
I just think
AI. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think 2-1B is a little more reliable. He's just a little more solid.
No, he doesn't really stand up.
I don't think it's as complicated, but I think he gets the job done.
Stand up to a heavy blaster or a lightsaber. So
no.
I don't know if of course, none of these doctors really would, except for the doctors. So there's a point for you, Mike.
Yeah. Or whatever that thing was in Jabba's palace that ripped him apart.
The Rancor?
Can't remember that.
Rancor.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe you need to watch Return of the Jedi
I guess
again.
So.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. So what's his name? B12?
2-1B.
2-1B. Okay.
Yeah.
You're writing all these down, right, Andy?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You're gonna post this up on the website, right?
Sure.
I got mine written down, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I have my list written down too. I think we all do.
I got mine written down here too.
Noah's got 2 sheets of paper. I have a note card. This is my list.
Well, he has talking points.
Oh, okay. Mike has it on his phone because he's technological.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from 2-1B, we'll go to our number 2, not 1B. We'll go on to engineer. Who's going to be fixing this ship when things get blasted, when boards start exploding randomly in like helmsman's faces? Mike, who do you got? Who do you got fixing the ship?
I'm going with O'Brien.
The most important person in Starfleet history. There's a statue built to him and everything.
Absolutely.
True.
Where would we be without Miles O'Brien?
And also the Boimler effect. Yeah, but I mean, dude, I know, seriously.
Choice.
That is a great choice.
I can't argue with that.
I mean, he was on 2 shows, so and he went basically from like a transport technician to chief. He was never officially chief engineer, though, was he?
They called him chief, didn't they?
Yeah, they called him Chief O'Brien.
But I think that was just as like his like military rank.
Just like an honorary.
I don't know.
He was part Native American, I think.
God. No, buddy, we're gonna have to have a talk with your mom.
I can get Mike to put his hand over his face, then I've done my job.
Jesus, now I'm gonna look up whether or not
whether he's Native American. Look it up.
Kuchimoya.
No, that's what was his name? Chakotay.
Yes.
Right.
That's
who you're thinking of.
That's who I'm thinking. Yeah.
So wasn't it that O'Brien, he wasn't even necessarily like he wasn't a lieutenant commander or anything like that because he was just a crewman.
Okay, so he served as chief of operations on DS9 because I guess he couldn't be chief engineer because it wasn't a starship. Mm-hmm. But then he went on to be the chief engineer of the Defiant.
There you
go. Okay. Question answered. Thank you, Google.
Yay, Google.
Yay, Google.
Next.
Chris, we're going to move on to you because I know we're going to have the exact same answer because we have discussed this with the person in the role.
Yeah,
we discussed this directly with the actor that played the role.
You're right. So I'm staying with Enterprise, surprisingly, and I'm going with Trip.
Yeah, I knew that you were going to pick that, Andy.
Yeah. Yep. Trip is the space cowboy in engineering.
Literally.
He really is. And
everybody called him a space cowboy, not just some.
Yeah, he was great, man. I mean, he could fix anything. And you might argue that any Star Trek engineer could fix anything, but you have to consider that he was on the first Enterprise. Mm-hmm. And, just really flying by the seat of his pants a lot of times and just pasting things together with Band-Aids. And so he just was, you know, I mean, he just knew what he was doing, and he was great, and he had he was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to go with Trip.
Yeah. Like I said, I knew you'd pick that. Yeah, I knew you'd pick that. I mean, the only man that got pregnant in Starfleet history as well, I believe.
Well, we don't talk about that.
From sticking his hands in a bowl. Yeah. But no, when we were in Star Trek Las Vegas one year, Chris and I went up to why is his name escaping me all of a sudden?
Connor Chenier.
Connor Chenier. We saw Connor at his booth, and Chris and I just walked up to him and be like, "Man, we just got to tell you something. Andy and I have been talking. We both agree you are our favorite engineer in all of the Star Trek franchises." He was like, "What? Oh, thank you very much." And he was just gracious as could be, and he was just like, "Why me?" It's like, because you were an innovator. You were like, basically you would have been the dude in like Cooter's garage fixing the General Lee, basically.
That is a weird. That's a weird.
I
reference.
went with it because Trip was also very Southern.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where I had to go with that one.
All right.
You just like him because you know that Roxanne Dawson isn't going to hang out like
that's true
late at night in a bar with you in Vegas.
That's true. And she did not.
She's not as cool as Trip.
That was Ezri Dax that hung out with us at a bar late at night in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So yeah, definitely went with Trip. Another reason was just because he was like not afraid to get his hands dirty and like go on away missions, and he could still kick some ass, but also come back and recouple some coils.
Trip.
All right, Noah. You're so far you're like 0 for 1.
Before
he's gonna say Chewbacca. Just watch.
Before I decide
Chewbacca's
on
the first
this,
officer.
I do. Could you?
Dual role.
Can you explain just a little bit of like what is an engineer? Like what does an engineer
it depends
do?
on your definition. Like the way we're doing it on here. It's someone who like fixes the ship, will fix, computer systems on the ship. Also
runs the engine.
Runs the engine, but also we could also go back to like Shining Time Station. And if you want to go with that engineer route, and you could go like Ringo Starr or George Carlin, one of those two. Those they were also engineers.
The person that drives the train.
High on cocaine.
If there is a train, that is an engineer.
Oh. Thomas kind of drove. He drove his own train, right?
Thomas was the train.
Yeah.
He was a train.
Tank engine.
Did he have an engineer?
No, I don't think so.
But that's not the kind of engineer we're talking about, right?
Face on the front, just like slapped on the front of him, and that made him able to drive his own self. Yeah, he was very much like Mike.
All right. Well, if we're going with somebody who knows how to fix things, who's really technical and has a lot of skills and building and technology and that sort of thing, I think I would probably go with Donatello. He was by far, I think, the most technically advanced of all the turtles. I think he even built that robot that looked like a turtle. I think its name was Metalhead. He built that thing, and I think that went wrong. That kind of turned bad. I think
that went sideways for sure.
But man, that guy. You see what he did to the turtle van? that was just a regular van.
Pretty badass.
That's the A-Team to shame, really.
That's what I was about to say. I was going to compare those two. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that goes to show what you can do with just putting shells on your van.
Yeah.
Makes all the
shell.
difference.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. They're there to protect the turtle. Why would they not protect the van?
I can't fault you for that choice. I would like to be able to, but I can't.
All right.
I would have Donatello as my engineer any day.
Excellent choice, Noah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Park's face is as red as the red on his headphones.
to protect the turtle. Why wouldn't it protect the van? Oh, I got tears in my eyes from that one. Good job, Butler. And also, I hate you at the same time. All right. Speaking of things you got to drive around, who is driving this ship? Who is going to be your helmsman, your pilot? I'm not even going to ask. Noah, who's driving this thing?
Well,
Are you going to Noah first this time?
Yeah, I figure I might as well get it out of the way.
I don't know. I think you should save it for last.
You don't want to save the best for last?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh boy. I mean,
It's not going to be.
we have to let him go first at least once to make him feel special.
usually Jesus is my co-pilot.
So that would make you the pilot.
You let Jesus take the wheel?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
Only when he's been drinking.
So always.
No, that's clearly a joke answer.
That's how you
and
get up tickets.
I'm not trying to offend Jesus or anybody else.
Don't offend Jesus.
But I need, before I can answer that, I mean, I have notes here I've written
Bible
down,
verses?
but I need to make sure I fully understand what do you mean by helmsman?
Didn't I explain it in the lead up to this? Okay.
I wasn't listening.
I know you weren't.
You know how the stormtroopers wear those helmets? They are all helmsmen.
Yes.
Because it's like a helm.
So it's just
technically
who wears
those
a
were
helmet?
helmets.
Or
Man.
you know in Lord of the Rings when they battle at Helm's Deep, those are all helmsmen
Yes.
that are guarding it.
Hey, there were some ladies fighting in there.
Well, yeah, okay.
So there were also helms women.
Well, pardon me for your.
And then there's also the mayonnaise
pronouns.
helmets. So who's your helmets? No, I'm kidding.
That is
It's basically like it was
sandwich
like a
dressing.
Sulu or a Chekhov, like who was piloting the ship, who you getting to fly you around.
Come back to me. I need to think about this one.
Mike. Who?
Now that I know what a helmsman is, I had something totally different.
We'll give you a few minutes to think about it. Mike, who is flying your ship? You at least you know what a helmsman is.
Funny you should mention Sulu. My choice is Sulu.
I did not see
so
that coming.
anticlimactic.
That came out of left field.
Sulu, it's Sulu.
I almost went with Perez.
Okay.
But
Really?
I picked Sulu. He knows how to handle that stick shift.
Really, Mike? Really?
I didn't even mean that joke, and it came out.
Serious right
Oh
now?
my God.
So we've now established that Mike does not realize when he's making a joke sometimes. So Sulu, give us some more reasons rather than he really knows how to handle that stick shift.
He knows how to wield a saber.
I was gonna say he's got a hell of a sword.
Good God.
Plus, he's got a cool uniform. I like his bowl haircut and his uniform.
Are his quarters also immaculate?
I've never seen his quarters.
You know what? You're right. I think we only ever saw Kirk and Spock's and Scotty's quarters.
We saw Janice Rand's quarters once.
Yeah, that's true. But never Sulu's. So we don't.
Hell of a lot of good that did.
All right, now that nonsense is over with, Chris, who do you have flying around the expanses of space?
I'm going with the new school on this one. I got Kayla Detmer flying the ship.
Nice.
Because especially in the last couple episodes, she's proven something's going on with her. I'm not sure what it is, but she can pilot.
Yeah,
she can.
Even when they were given the new controls when they made their little jump to the future. Spoiler.
Well, and then she also took over Book's ship.
Yeah, she can fly anything.
Yeah,
and she's badass at it. So I got to go with Kayla Detmer.
Yeah, and she's so far this season, she's like overcoming some hardcore PTSD. Well, I mean, the entire crew is, but of course, it's got to be extra stressful when you're the one piloting around all these crew members that are, their lives are in her hands right now.
Not to mention, I already have Phlox and Trip on the ship, so I need a little less testosterone.
It's true.
And, I need a woman on my crew, so Detmer's it.
Detmer, I can dig that one. I mean, and if like even her mirror counterpart's badass. So
it's true. I don't want any mirror universe crewmen though. You just can't count on them.
That's true. Well, unless you're out to FS up. I'm trying to cut down on Mike's editing.
I mean, I think Giorgio maybe. She's back and forth. She talks a good game, but I think she might be coming around a little bit. Although I also suspect that she's going to be dead here pretty soon. I take it you haven't watched tonight's episode yet. I have not watched tonight's episode.
I have not watched this.
Oh, you guys are in for it then.
Good.
All right, my choice. Mike actually already alluded to it. I'm surprisingly enough, being who I am, I'm going with Tom Paris.
That is a weird choice for you.
Well, my choice for Tom Paris went like this. I want somebody who is not afraid to take a lot of risks. If the captain's not around to basically tell him what to do, he can kind of take it into his own hands. Is it always the best choice? No, but he was a Maquis pilot, and then he came on to Voyager, and then he could get you out of some trouble. So that's the type of guy I'd kind of want on my side. Not so much when it comes to the way he treated a lot of the ladies, but he was a little problematic there. But yeah, I'm going with Tom Paris for this one.
So speaking of ladies, I think
oh no, the thing that you want most in a helmsman, right? The most important quality, the most important thing that you can have in a pilot, right, is being able to escape, right? Being able to escape from danger. Because if you can do that, that's really all that matters, right? Right? Because otherwise you're dead. So escaping from danger, disappearing, right? Disappearing, not letting the enemy find you.
I can't wait to hear what this is.
So I'm gonna go with Amelia Earhart,
who was also on an episode of Star Trek Voyager.
Was she?
Hey, you're finally in the right franchise, Noah.
Kind of. See?
Oh, I knew that. I mean, that's why I said it.
You just messed up by you just strayed from your formula without even knowing it.
Think about it though. You know where she is? Have you found her? Has anybody found her?
Janeway found her.
Nope. Yeah.
Nope. In 2018, they found some bones that they thought might be hers.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
They have no way to prove it.
Proven.
I think that they could be hers.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
Pure speculation, I'm sure.
Could be.
They found her driving a Jeep with Bigfoot riding shotgun.
It's not like she had a driver's license on her.
With Tupac Shakur riding in the back.
And Jimmy Hoffa?
Yep.
No, he was still buried underneath the field at Shea Stadium. Teamsters, man. Teamsters. That's who got Amelia Earhart. All right, we're getting to the little home stretch here. We are going to go first officer now, like second in command. Who do you want your eventual captain's pick to kind of go to for advice? Who do you want in charge when the captain's not around? Mike, who do you got? Who do you got for first officer?
I went with Spock. I mean,
all right. Because why not?
The OG.
He's Spock.
Because he's Spock.
What is Star Trek without Spock?
It's very true.
So that show with William Shatner.
And DeForest Kelly.
No one knows who that is.
And Davy Jones from the Monkees.
What?
So yeah, I went with Spock. I like his bowl haircut and his shirt.
Wasn't that already? I like his bull. Oh, you said that about a Sulu too. Okay. I was like, wait, didn't you already use that one? No, I think Spock's an excellent choice. He's like you kind of want somebody to like calm down the captain. Like basically, if you have like a crazy ass president, you want a vice president who's going to be like a nice calming force. But
yeah, but you got to admit, Spock had some emotional problems.
I mean, he's out there throwing bowl of soup.
He grappled with some issues from time to time. I don't know. Let's see here. Naked Time. We got This Side of Paradise.
Well, that was drugs.
Those were drugs, man.
Still, man. You know what? But Spock on drugs is dangerous.
But he had some cool coveralls.
What was it? Was it This Side of Paradise where he smashed the console, like just crumpled that. No,
that was Naked Time.
Was that Naked Time?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. Spock is dangerous. He can be.
This Side of Paradise was when he was like dangling from the tree.
Oh yeah, that's right.
after the flower spit in his face.
But wasn't he like taken away? Like he was brought back up to the ship and he was freaking out? Or no? Was that Naked Time? I don't remember.
Well, no, he comes back to the ship and Kirk insults him and tries to get him mad.
Yeah, he's angry, and then that's when he smashes the monitor.
Oh, that's when he picks it up over his head and
he just like
threatening to
crushes it.
smash it.
No, he puts his fist to the monitor in the Naked Time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Crushes it like that, but then he's like threatening to kill Kirk with a piece of the console that he ripped out.
Okay,
he had it above his head,
right.
all Spock smash.
Well, at any rate, you don't want to make Spock Hulk out.
You wouldn't like Spock when he's angry.
No.
Or a giant.
Yeah.
Like in the animated series.
But you know what? That's one of the reasons why I picked Spock. Because only is it
you pick Spock as well?
I also pick Spock. He's a great first officer. He's intelligent. He's also doubles as your science officer. But also, if you need a heavy by your side as a first officer, no better than Spock.
That's true.
He's got that Vulcan death grip.
He's got the silent, the sneak up and pinch and you're down, but he also can,
read your mind
and probably put his fist through an enemy's head if he needed to.
Which actually
Spock
was
more
rare.
Or less a pacifist, but
yeah, I actually rewatched Return of the Archons the other day, and I'd forgotten that in that episode he actually was throwing punches rather than just doing like the Vulcan nerve pinch. I was like, "Ooh, Spock's throwing down."
Well, you can't nerve pinch. It's more of a stealth move.
Yeah, you can't really do it high
coming
speed.
at you from the front.
Did he do a two-handed? Any of this?
Nope, that's strictly Kirk.
That's signature Kirk.
Oh, only Kirk. I thought Spock did that at least.
That's trademark William Shatner.
Now, didn't they have like one episode or maybe it was animated series where Spock had the death grip or something like that?
Yeah, must have been animated series.
It was like an instant kill or something.
Ooh.
And he was, I feel like there is somewhere because it was like some weird out of left field, Spock can do the Vulcan death grip. And I was like, what? Maybe not. I'll have to look it up. I don't know. Fark, Google it.
Let's see if anything comes up for Vulcan. It'd probably be like a really bad like hardcore band or something. Well, because there is a band called Death Grips.
Yeah. Oh
wait, Vulcan Death Grip.
Oh
no, it just immediately comes up. It's like, did you mean Vulcan Nerve Pinch?
Okay, I don't know where. Maybe I just heard that somewhere.
Yeah, it's just basically like.
You probably heard Death Grip.
Memory Alpha is saying it's a fictitious Vulcan technique invented by Spock.
Don't they call it the death grip in Spaceballs though?
Wait, Memory Alpha says what?
It was just something Spock made up, and it was like rumored. It's just a rumored thing.
He was faking it just to like scare somebody, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And like it basically looked like the mind meld thing almost.
Yeah.
Except he never actually used it. It was basically a bluff.
Yeah. Okay. I knew I'd heard it somewhere. All right. No death grip, but any guy that can put his fist through a monitor like
butter,
like a marshmallow, I want to have at my side.
Oh man! All right, my choice for first officer. I decided I needed a little less testosterone on my bridge as well. So I am going with recently promoted Sylvia Tilly.
Oh, okay.
Because damn it, I love Sylvia Tilly, and it was a little weird, her like Saru picking her, just jumping straight from ensign to first officer. I mean, it's still just acting first officer, but still, she is someone that she's smart as hell. She knows when a job needs to get done. She knows how to get the job done, but also she knows what it's like to be not a lesser member of the crew, but a lower ranking member of the crew. And she can have empathy for them and knows how it is and can she's basically
a little inexperienced, isn't she?
A little bit, but it seems like she's fallen into the role pretty well so far. Yeah. And I think with time, she's going to be a badass first off.
It's kind of a spoiler alert, don't you think? For anyone who hasn't seen this season.
Well, she's got to be better than Michael Burnham.
Do what?
She's got to be better than Michael Burnham.
A little less mutinous.
Yeah, well, she's not very. She's very impulsive. Michael Burnham just kind of does what she wants to do, which sometimes is good, but that can lead.
But damn,
yeah, it's kind of selfish.
My honorable mention for first officer is Riker. I would have gone with him if not for Spock.
I think I have to agree with you there.
Mm-hmm. Admirable.
A good guy to have. Plus, Riker,
he's going to get you late.
After a long day captaining, you can just go hang out and have a beer with Riker. He'll swing over backwards in a chair,
play some trombone,
and have a beer and just hang out.
Do you ever think he tried some weird jazz lingo and he was like, wait a second, we're going to the party. Let me whip out my bone. You think he ever tried some crap like that?
You mean Riker or
Riker?
That sounds more like something Sulu would say.
Yeah.
Damn it, Mike. All right.
Noah.
Hold on.
No, speaking of bad jokes, Noah, who do you got for first officer now that you've kind of got a little more of an idea of what a first officer is?
Let me guess. You're going to go with Snake Mountain.
I'm a little confused by the
you look confused.
The term first officer, because wouldn't that just be the captain? It's first. That's the person who's first. Why would that not be the captain?
Valid point.
And the first officer would really be second officer.
Well, no, it's the captain's.
Captain would be first officer. And
it's colloquially speaking. It's the first officer for the captain. It's the captain's first officer.
Yeah,
and the captain is the head. But
right. So why is it not called the first captain?
Okay, let's just go with bestest officer.
There's only one captain.
Captain's helper.
Captain's helper. There you
go. Sort of like hamburger, but captain.
All right. I've got 3 words for you then.
Oh, I'm gonna love all 3.
Man at arms.
I knew a Masters of the Universe one was coming.
That guy can do anything. He can build robots.
He has arms.
He can pilot things. He's a
mustache.
He trains the Royal Guard.
Got a hot daughter.
Yeah. Yep.
Because Tila was his daughter, right?
Yes, Tila was his daughter. That's good. Right. That's good.
Man, I grew up watching Master Universe. Don't look at me like, ooh, good job, Andy. No.
Yeah, but do you know who her mother was though?
Your mother.
Do you know who Tila's mother was?
No, I can't honestly remember.
Oh, no, this should be green because Man at Arms is green and Cringer is green, so she would be green.
Oh yeah. Good
Is that
point.
how that works?
Wasn't it the chick with the like the eagle wings?
It was, yeah. It was the sorceress. The spoiler alert: the sorceress is her mother.
Spoiler
Is
alert.
that a 40-year-old spoiler alert you're throwing out there?
In case anybody hasn't seen it, they're rebooting it next year, and man, that just like people may be watching it for the first time, but now
Statute of limitations has run out on that one.
so.
You're fine. You're fine. Go back and watch it then. Man at Arms.
Man at Arms. Wait, so let's recap real quick before we get to captains. Noah has. Who do you have as a doctor?
The robot from Empire Strikes Back.
2-1B.
Yeah, 2-1B is his doctor. His engineer is
Donatello.
Donatello. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
helmsman is Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart is his helmsman.
And first officer is Man at Arms.
Man at Arms from Masters
This
of the
is
Universe.
quite a crew you've got going here.
Whew, so many universes. You're gonna have to get to the
I
rights.
value diversity.
Apparently.
If it wouldn't be if it wouldn't be a complete spoiler for this episode, I would totally make the artwork for this episode Noah's crew.
Put together.
You should just do it anyway.
Or what would be even better is just to do like the silhouettes of those characters, but blacked out with like the question mark.
Yes.
Pull that together. People be like, huh?
I might do that, yeah.
That would be great.
So let's get to captains.
Let's get to captains.
Let's do the captains.
The head honcho, the head cheese, the captain. I almost said another one, but I was like, that's a little insensitive.
Yeah, easy.
Mike, who you got in charge of this whole deal?
My choice will probably surprise you.
I doubt it.
Oh yeah? Who do you think it is?
Sulu.
It's Nog.
No.
dang
I
it.
went with Janeway.
Oh, really?
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. I like a chick that knows how to murder a guy to get two guys back.
I mean,
No, I
to her
should-
credit, she did take out the Borg.
What,
Wait,
Noah?
It was a convoluted storyline,
I
but
said,
she did take out the Borg.
is that why she's in jail?
For murdering a guy, yeah.
Yeah.
now
Are
we getting
she
into
shot
the
him
whole?
just to watch him die?
Are we getting into the whole Tuvix situation here, Mike?
That's obviously what I'm talking about.
All right, so she had to make the impossible choice to rip apart her science officer and her cook or party planner or whatever his title was after they had melded in a transporter accident. And this has been debated so much online. Is
let's face
Janeway
it.
a murderer?
Tuvix was the worst.
Yeah. Tuvix was pretty annoying.
To be
Of course,
fair,
so-
Neelix was the worst. So
course,
combining him with anything.
Tuvok.
And if we're being honest, it was to get Tuvok back, not
That's
Neelix.
true.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh boy.
I love that Noah just sits there and stares like,
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
That's a lot of fancy words you guys are saying.
Are you guys talking about Twix bars?
so yes, my choice was Janeway. I think that she is a fantastic captain.
I agree with that.
And other captains would be a great choice too, but I like her motherly appeal.
Interesting.
Well, plus she was put in
Motherly?
like definitely
Motherly.
definitely one of the most unique Starfleet situations.
Well, and and looking at this, let me get nerdy here for a second.
For a
Do it.
second,
This is just now
you mean you're
happening.
just now
Yeah.
getting nerdy?
I shifted my butt in my chair, so you know I'm serious.
that means he's extra nerdy.
Yeah.
When his
I
butt
mean,
shifts, he's nerdy.
If we really are looking at this from like the super nerdy viewpoint of like I want to assemble the ultimate like Federation crew, I feel like Janeway, maybe with the exception of Picard, Janeway really tried the hardest to hold up Starfleet rules and regulations with her crew and how they operate. I mean,
Yeah, even when she didn't really have to anymore. It's like, we got to do what needs to get done. So let's screw Starfleet regulations. Let's just do it.
yeah, they're 70, however many thousand light years from home. They're not going to get home in their lifetime, and she's still holding up like the rules and making them follow them, even if it makes their trip home harder.
Yeah. Which is why she has she now has a memorial built. Well, not a memorial, but a statue built for her down about 45 minutes south of us in Bloomington, Indiana.
Plus, I really like her bowl cut and her uniform.
Is there really a statue of her in Bloomington?
Yeah.
Yeah, they recently unveiled it just last month.
We were supposed to play at the unveiling.
As Janeway or as herself?
Janeway. Well, because you know how when we went to Riverside, Iowa, that was like the future birthplace of Captain Kirk, and they had like the memorial, the headstone, not headstone, but statue for him and everything. They did the same thing because it's Star Trek canon that Catherine Janeway was born in Bloomington, Indiana.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Now Noah wants to watch Voyager.
No, I'm still not going to watch it, but that's interesting.
Lots of Midwest Starfleet captains.
Yeah.
So you got Iowa and Indiana. I'm not sure exactly where Archer was from, but he seemed a little Midwesty. I get kind of Wisconsin vibes from him.
What?
Well, except for the water polo, that was a little bougie.
Yeah, I think Archer's California all the way.
Yeah, brah. Let me look it up.
It might be somewhere.
Using the crap out of Google tonight.
All I can ever think about with where people are from on Enterprise is that Trip is from Florida.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gets lasered off. my sister was there. Oh, Archer's from New York.
Okay. East Coast.
Yeah.
New York is basically California.
It's like the cold version of California.
Yeah.
Right?
It's cold California.
It's more cityfied.
Cold California. So you just called it. New York is just cold California. That is the most accurate description I think I've ever heard of New York ever.
It's pretty good. It's the most accurate description I've ever heard from someone who's never been to New York or California.
Or California.
Hey, I've been to New York.
Sure you have.
I went there once, 5 years ago.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. All right. Moving on to this riveting discussion of Mike in New York.
Yeah.
Chris, who you have in charge of this whole shebang?
I went with Picard.
Okay.
The elder statesman.
The winemaker.
The winemaker. The diplomat. Not afraid to get into a tussle.
Savior of the Romulan people now.
Yes.
Willing to take on 3 Nausicaans.
He also could match wits with a Q. He's just the guy you want commanding everything. Although I will say that my alternate would be Janeway, because like Mike said, she, through impossible circumstances, maintained what Starfleet is and brought him home. So I really appreciate Janeway, but I got to go with Picard.
Okay, I could definitely agree with that. I mean, he definitely knew how to keep us cool, but he also was kind of willing to get a little dirty every now and then.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely didn't go on nearly as many away missions as say like a Kirk or an Archer.
Yeah. See, but that's the captain shouldn't necessarily go on away missions. You don't want the captain to go down, to beam down and get,
Lasered.
shot, get phasered or, in a transporter accident or something,
Right.
You want the captain to be safe on the ship doing captainy stuff. And
Yeah.
then if he's needed on the planet or space station or whatever, then, send him down. But make sure, send a Riker down first clear the
Make sure
way,
everything's
make sure
cool.
everything's copacetic, and then send Picard down. You knew what was up.
Well, I mean, unless it's like a whole Darmok situation, then you're just thrust into it.
Yeah, but see, that's a good point. Darmok. Would any other captain have had the
Patience,
the ability to figure out? I mean, he's Shakespearean. He is well read.
Mm-hmm.
He understands different ways to communicate, which makes him such an effective diplomat, I think.
Yeah.
And with Darmok, he goes down and has no idea what this guy is talking about. This guy speaks in like metaphor, and he figures out how to communicate with him. And I don't think any other captain would have been able to do that. So Picard's got a lot going for him. It's hard to argue against him. Even Janeway, I think Picard's still far and away the best.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I mean, he's definitely not somebody I would argue against. Matter of fact, really none of the Starfleet captains I would ever argue against.
Yeah, they all had their quality that made them special.
Not even Lorca.
Lorca, yeah, you know what?
Okay,
I thought about throwing him in as a joke.
But we actually never really did get to see Prime Lorca. Lorca might have been an awesome captain, but
awesome enough to get killed and switched over from the Mirror Universe Lorca,
right from the Baran,
the Terran Lorca. So yeah, I mean he was probably fine, but not good enough to stay alive.
He couldn't have been that good. He's dead.
Yeah. we didn't spend enough time with Giorgio, the right Giorgio. Saru's been captain for a minute. So
I like Saru a lot, but we need to see more of him before I can say that he would be like my choice as a good captain.
He's so green. I like his I like his style, but he's super green. He's not anywhere close to Picard. Let's face it.
Well, speaking of Saru as a captain, my choice for captain is Saru.
I'm
going with Saru as a captain. He has been first officer on Discovery for so long, and he definitely has the experience. When he was promoted to captain, I was so stoked for that choice, mainly because he basically knew what it was to be oppressed. He grew up oppressed. He watched his race get killed off systematically. And so he knows, what Starfleet values mean. He knows why they're out there. He knows what it is to suffer and doesn't want to see that for any other race. But he's also values what he's learned in Starfleet like so much that he's just willing to uphold Starfleet's ideals. And right now in the newest season of Discovery, especially, he's really being tested as, a newly minted captain, and is basically still trying to kind of slightly learn the ropes when it comes to bureaucratic nonsense. When he's dealing with the admiral and the higher ups and everything. But so far, I think he's going to be just a fantastic captain. Plus it's awesome to have, I think it's the first that we've seen of an alien race with as a Starfleet captain.
Yeah,
that's true. No, I love Saru. I don't. And I mean, I was jokingly saying he was too green, but he's very new, and I mean, I don't think he ranks up there with Picard. And if I'm choosing the best, for my dream crew, Picard would be who I'd choose. But that doesn't mean I don't love Saru as well as all the other there's no captain that, primary show captain that I don't like. I think they all have their qualities. They're good qualities.
My runner-up was Pike.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's a good choice too.
New Pike or old Pike?
New Pike.
New Pike.
The Cage Pike.
Yeah, not Jeffrey Hunter.
the one episode Pike. Well, 2 episode Pike that we saw in the original series.
I mean, he was great in the little bit he was in, but I mean Pike from Discovery and Strange New Worlds.
I figured.
Yeah, actually, my second choice was Cisco. But
I actually was surprised you didn't go with Cisco. I figured that would be your choice.
I really had to go back and forth with that, but then I started thinking to myself, it's like, well, knowing how Deep Space Nine ends, and he's basically like, we don't know when he's coming back, and if he does come back, if he'll be called away by the wormhole aliens again. Oh, sorry to spoil like something that happened over 2 decades ago. If you don't know, then now you know.
Hey, does that happen in season 4, Mike?
Just keep watching, you'll get there.
Keep going.
Is that when it gets good? Season 4, is that when it gets good?
Season 3 is when it gets good.
You're almost there.
Yeah, that's what Mike said.
You can't listen to anything Mike says.
I'm learning that. But.
Well, unless he decides to like shift his butt again, and then he gets extra nerdy and can really.
Oh yeah, that's when he gets serious.
Oh, he's serious.
When I shift my butt, watch out. All right, Noah.
Yep.
Do you have any questions about what a captain is?
No, I do not. Okay. I know exactly what a captain is. I know that a captain is a leader, and that if I'm going to pick the leader for my crew, that it has to be someone who is both brave and compassionate. It needs to be someone who is a great communicator. And I'm going to make a connection, I think, to Mike's backup choice just a little bit. It's not my choice, but I'm going to make a connection because he talked about Pike. And I think something that's really important for my team is to have someone, have someone on the team with a disability. And if you go back to Captain Pike, he was kind of one of the first Star Trek characters that they had on the show that had a disability, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think that's important for me to have on my team. So I'm making a connection to Mike.
Oh God, where's this going?
The person that I've chosen as a leader, it might surprise you. Though this, and I'm going to let you guess here, but not out loud, but I want you to think for a minute. Start thinking about all these Star Trek captains. The person I chose is bald. Okay, so I'm narrowing it down to 2 now, right? Right? But you're thinking, you know what? I can't think of a bald captain that has a disability, right? You can't think about that. So what you're doing now is you're limited. You kind of have a limited mindset, really, right now, because you're too narrow in your focus.
No. Was the word mindset another clue? Because I know where my brain's going.
I know where you're going here.
All right. Yeah. All right. Professor X. Yeah. Professor X, the world's most powerful telepath, right? Leader of the X-Men. There's no better leader. There's no better leader to lead any team anywhere. I will argue that to the end. There's no better leader.
Hey, pal. Hey, Noah.
Yeah.
You know that the guy that played Captain Picard, which is his name's Patrick Stewart, that's also Professor Charles Xavier.
What?
You know that's the same guy, right?
That's so. I don't understand.
I mean, is this a disappointment, or is this just like are you in shock from learning this information?
I'm just confused because I don't know who this Captain Picard is that you're talking about. So like I think you're confusing things. I'm talking about X-Men. I'm talking about somebody named Professor X. Right? That's okay. That's comic books, Andy. Like I know Mike knows what I'm talking about. He's in a comic book store right now. You probably don't know as much, Andy, because you're not like into comics and stuff. But like this is a comic book. Okay.
I've seen the movies though.
Yeah,
the X-Men movies.
Andy, they made movies of the comic book.
Hey, Mike.
I knew that.
Movies of the comic books.
Hey, Mike.
In the movies, there was a.
Earlier when I was talking about editing out everything Noah says,
it has nothing to do with Star Trek.
This is a good example.
I only heard Chris's aside, so buddy, that's where I'm gonna have to stop you. because
I thought he was going to go with Captain America.
I thought he was going to go with like Captain Underpants.
I thought he was going to use like Cobra Commander or something.
Really?
Well, but see, that was a commander, not a captain, though.
It's true.
Yeah.
Wasn't Destro actually in charge?
Yeah, and he's bald.
Or was it Serpentor? Was Serpentor in charge? He seemed like
Serpentor was never actually in charge.
He looked like he should be in charge, though.
You know what you should have gone with here, Noah?
What?
Charles. That would have been the ultimate. It's like he's a new boy in the neighborhood. I mean, he may be a new boy in the neighborhood.
Lives downstairs.
He lives downstairs, but it's understood. He's there just to take good care of me. Like he's one of the family.
Yeah,
he is in charge.
Sure.
He is in charge
of our days and our nights.
That one's for Steve and Frankie.
Charles is in charge.
Steve and Frankie,
of our wrongs and our rights.
They listen to this as they shake their head and
in dismay.
Just continue to shake their head.
See. I want Charles in charge of me.
I want Charles in charge. Charge of me.
Key change.
That's only for the end credits.
Yes. Right.
So now it may be a little anticlimactic, but we're going to secondary crew members.
Yeah, I mean, these are kind of like the ones where it's like, you know what? I wouldn't mind hanging out with that person. That person may be valuable in my life.
So does anybody else have a science officer?
Well, my first officer doubles as a science officer, so I got it covered with Spock. I guess you do too.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I do, but I also assigned myself a science officer.
Is it 7 of 9?
It is not 7 of 9.
Oh.
It's Data.
Okay.
All right.
You know what? If we're picking science officers, I think I'd go with Data too.
I mean, who else are you going to go with unless you go with Spock? I mean, it's got to be Spock or Data.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. 7 of 9 is pretty good.
But she's not actually a Starfleet officer.
Not technically, but she's she's the one that worked with the Borg kids and kind of figured out, help. I don't know. I think she'd qualify.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If I had to pick a science officer, I would go with Jadzia Dax.
Of course,
honestly, because I mean, one, super duper smart. She has like all of her former hosts, and then also, I mean, she just seems like after hours would just be fun to hang out with.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's not just a sexual thing either.
Yeah, if you like doing it with guys with translucent skulls.
Wow.
What was it? What was his name? Captain Baudet?
Something like that. I
got a date with Captain Baudet afterwards. Is that the one with translucent skull? Ew.
Let's go back to secondary crew. Somebody that wasn't necessarily didn't hold a position the whole series, the same position, but they were, be good to have around.
Do you have anybody chosen for your security officer?
Yeah, I've got Kira Nerys.
All right.
With a honorable mention of Shax from Lower Decks.
Oh God, I love Shax so much.
Yeah. Although I think Kira and Odo kind of go together, so I'd lobby to have them together. I mean, he wasn't really security officer. He was the
detective.
Constable, yeah. So, but he was, he was kind of the driver of the security, but Kira, dealt out the justice.
Yeah.
She was a little bit of a loose cannon, but that's okay.
A little bit, but I mean, with good reason, especially when it came to those damn dirty cardies.
That's right.
I would go with Odo if he were an actual Starfleet officer, but since he's not, I actually think I would go with Yar.
Ooh, old Tasha Yasha.
I thought about Tasha, but she was definitely a loose cannon.
Yeah.
You want somebody who's got it reined in a little bit.
That's true.
She just was. She was too impulsive. That's what got her killed. Oh yeah, and the
And a mud puddle.
They'd had enough of her. The showrunners. They're like, okay. Oh no,
I
she just wanted to leave. That's right. So they unceremoniously just killed her with a mud puddle.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you get.
I think I'd like to give an honorable mention to Tuvok also for security.
All right, whatever.
I'm just gonna go with the cop out and just say Worf. Even though I did love Shax so much, I mean, I would be sad because he was definitely a loose cannon because he was always wanting to just be, let's fire the phasers to take out their engines. It's like easy, buddy. Oh,
He was pretty
you want
awesome.
somebody with that kind of drive.
yeah, but I mean, but what was really funny about that is that he was also Bajoran. So it's like, wow, it's a pretty violent attitude.
Notice how
out of
both of my
Bajoran.
picks were Bajoran.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kira
and Shax together as a team. I just made something.
I just made something. Was it a mess in your pants?
A little bit.
Do you
Okay.
have a choice for a security officer, Noah?
No.
Somebody,
like-
basically somebody that can just kick some ass. No,
Like
Starbuck. It's Starbuck, isn't it?
Roscoe P. Coltrane, maybe?
a Q.
If we're going with just straight badass tussle in a fight, I'd go with Panthro, most likely.
And we're Thundercatting.
Ho.
I mean, the way he can handle some nunchucks.
Did you say nunchucks?
Yeah, he did.
I call them nunchucks.
Why is that?
Because when you get
they
hit
make
by
you
them,
numb.
they make you numb.
That's right.
You drop them on your toe, man. You can't feel that thing.
That's right.
No,
Nunchucks.
if you chuck them on your toe.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. If you give them to a guy named Chuck and he hits you in the head, that's gonna be numb.
What's another supplemental, Mike? What are the other ones you got?
Comms
Comms?
officer, communications.
Oh, okay. What do you got?
I went with Hoshi.
Hoshi.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The originators that helped fill up that universal translator.
Yeah.
I forgot about Hoshi, but I went with Uhura, with Hoshi as a very close second.
Uhura is my second choice.
Yeah. Yeah, mine was also Hoshi, mainly because she was like one of the originators, and plus she was pretty badass with like figuring out like deciphering language. She was like, I know like 3 words of that, and then she can start kind of
That's true.
piecing it all together.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I mean, shout out to Hoshi and the filling up that universal translator at the beginning.
I don't know who Hoshi is. Frankly, it sounds made up. Like you guys just kind of made up a name and both went with it as some sort of inside joke.
Is this from an anime?
That's fine.
It's like a character from Mario.
I would have gone with Hoshi, but I already have Phlox and Trip. I mean, you can only have so many Enterprise crew on this crew here.
Noah, can you think of anybody that'd be like a good communicator?
C-3PO.
He is a protocol droid, and he's fluent in.
He's
Machi.
fluent in over 6 billion forms of communication. I don't think your Hoshi can do that. Whoever that is.
Noah just made air quotes for Hoshi.
We're back to Star Wars. What else?
Because we knew that happened.
Full circle, man. Full
What else,
circle.
Mike?
That's no moon.
How about maybe a counselor? If you have a counselor on your crew.
The only one I could think of was Troy.
I went with Ezri.
She was a counselor? Oh, yeah, I guess she
Why?
was. All right, I switch. Ezri. No question.
I actually went with Dr. Miglimo.
What?
See, you're
Really?
just making shit up again.
No,
Yeah.
we got to see him in one episode of Lower Decks, voiced by Mr. Paul F. Tompkins
Oh,
himself.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
the bird doctor,
Yeah.
You're weird.
Dr. Miglimo.
All right, so now we're back to secondary crew.
Yeah. So if you had to pick like a bucking young ensign,
Oh, we're
Mariner.
Ensign now.
Yeah.
Beckett Mariner.
I was gonna go with Boimler.
Oh, really? We kind of went opposite sides of the spectrum on that one.
But honorable mention to Tilly and to Harry Kim.
Well, Tilly's no longer an ensign.
Wesley Crusher.
Oh, somebody had to go with him.
You know, I think Wesley is underrated. I think that
underrated.
people pick on him too much.
He was it's because he was written as an annoying little kid, but he was. You know what? I got that impression the first time I watched TNG, but then I went back and watched it again, and I thought, you know what? He's not that annoying. He just is
inquisitive.
He's really smart, and no one understands him.
That's true.
Which makes him seem annoying. But yeah, I'd have Crusher, no doubt.
All right, Noah. So for an ensign, you have. I'm just going to give you two choices, so you don't have to think of one.
Oh no! I got one.
No. Okay, but let me get this one out of the way first, then, real quick. Out of two choices, just like a thing. Do you go Snarf or Orko?
Andy,
Orko, no question.
That just shows you that you're not taking this very seriously. That you're just kind of making a mockery of this whole
trial.
Fancy Star Trek thing you're doing, and with your fancy football and your fancy Star Trek.
Fancy? Is that what you think it's called? It's fancy football.
Isn't that what you do? Isn't that what we're doing? Isn't that what you play all the time? You play fancy football.
Fancy Star Trek.
I thought we were doing fancy Star Trek.
It is now.
That's why I'm wearing my tuxedo.
There's the name of our episode.
Fancy Star Trek.
Fancy Star Trek.
So if we're talking about young, underappreciated, kind of kids on a starship, I'm gonna go with probably Lieutenant Zach Adama. On the original 1978 Battlestar Galactica movie, and he's the youngest son of Commander Adama. So he's Apollo's his older brother, and Apollo.
Sun God?
No, Andy.
How dare you?
How dare you?
So he's kind of always gets short in his stick. But Mike, do you know why? And this is pretty much just for Mike. You know why I pick him more than in anything else?
Oh, sure. Leave us out.
Guess who plays him? Guess who the actor is who plays him?
Your mother.
Not Scott Baio. It's a good guess. You're close. Someone a little more talented than Scott Baio.
The guy that played Chachi.
Impossible.
Someone who also has a complete carded vintage Star Wars action figure collection in his house.
I don't know.
Seth Green.
One of the best power pop rock stars on the planet. Also had a short stint on General Hospital.
Rick Springfield.
Really?
In Springfield. Yep.
Really?
Yeah, really.
He was on Battlestar Galactica, huh?
He was in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He must have been young.
Yeah. He was Commander Adama's youngest son.
Wow.
I mean, clearly, it doesn't seem like you've watched that very many times.
I have not. I'm gonna be honest. Of all of Battlestar Galactica, including the original series and the new, well, not new, but the 2000 series.
Most recent reboot.
Yeah. And whatever the spinoff was called.
Caprica.
I have seen exactly 1.5 seasons.
Combined total?
Yeah.
You watched like 2 episodes from each one and couldn't make it any further?
I'd rather watch Buck Rogers. Beady, 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 beady.
Beady, beady, beady.
That had an eagle doctor on it, didn't it?
Buck Rogers.
I think you're thinking of Lost in Space.
No, Buck Rogers had an eagle guy on it. He had
yeah, I thought you said evil.
No, well, every show.
I think you're thinking of Flash Gordon.
I'm talking about an eagle guy.
Yeah, Flash Gordon had an eagle guy.
Yeah.
Or no, he was more of a hawk guy. He was
Hawkman.
No,
Hawkeye was on MASH.
Yeah.
Well, Hawkeye is part of the Avengers.
Too far, Andy. You went too far.
So.
Sorry. Was that too recent of a reference for you, Mr. Butler?
Way too mainstream, Andy. Way too mainstream.
If I was going to choose a tactical officer, I would go with James Morehouse.
Definitely James Morehouse all the way.
No
I mean,
question.
I don't even know what a tactical officer is, but I'm definitely going with Jim Morehouse.
I mean, he had a shower of sparks rain down on him. His console exploded. He nodded. He nodded like a motherfucker.
Tactical alert.
Yeah, you got
That's
it.
all I know. That's all I remember. There's more to it, right?
Something like that. This conversation has started to go nowhere. I think that's a pretty good segue to wrap up this episode of Fancy Star Trek.
Fancy Star Trek.
Sort of like fancy football, but for Star Trek. So you guys got anything you want to plug? I'm gonna do like they do on like WTF with Mark Maron. You got anything you want to plug before we go? We don't. That's the end of the episode.
Hey, do you miss getting new content from 5 Year Mission? You should head over to patreon.com/5yearmission and check out our Patreon page. As a patron of the band, you will receive access to rare and behind-the-scenes pictures and videos and other cool stuff. You will also have early access to many things, like video releases or new songs. You can sign up for different levels, from ensign all the way up to admiral. One of the perks of being an admiral on 5 Year Mission's Patreon is that you get to be a producer on this podcast. Currently, our producers are Neil Carpenter, Helen Lake, Debbie Rinke, Carol Jones, Becky and Roxy, Steve and Frankie Palopoli, Madison Rachel Jones, and Jim Morehouse. Your name could be on this list if you sign up as an admiral. So head over to patreon.com/5yearmission now.
As always, fansets.com is your home for all things pop culture pin related. Coming out in January, they got some new Batman pins coming out from DC, as well as the newest addition to the Women in Trek pin series with Nurse Chapel. It's glittery, it's got the nurse's comm badge on there and everything. It's gorgeous, trust me. Also, just a little side note, they have been starting to sell the Lower Decks Deltas magnetic and pin backs, but they are currently already sold out. Same thing with both of the badges. And if you are ordering from Fansets right now, be sure to remember that they are running a little behind due to the coronavirus that is still ongoing. So expect shipment to take a little bit longer. So head over to fansets.com right now. Enter the code 5-Year Mission. That is the number 5 and all caps Year Mission. 5-Year Mission. Get 15% off of your total order at fansets.com. Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank Fansets for being the premier sponsor of every single episode of every single podcast on the Trek Geeks Network.
The website will be back up and running soon. We had a guy
back up and running.
The store is currently not working. We got an email from a guy that tried to order a copy of Year 4, and he said it went crazy on him.
Well,
and then I tried it too.
Did they pull out a crowbar? Or?
I'm in the process of building a new website. We're switching hosting, and I'm in the process of building it. So it's coming along. It won't go up completely.
Is 5yearmission.com available? Have they ever released it yet?
No, nope. It expires January 4th, I believe. But I'm sure it's on
that guy, whoever owns it, was going to. I
guarantee it's auto renew.
It'll auto renew.
Mm-hmm. Like a jerk.
So what do you want to plug, Andy?
Absolutely nothing, because we have nothing going on right now except for this podcast.
And we're all writing Year 5 songs, right? Right.
Sure.
I've written one.
Guys?
No.
Right?
I've had lots of ideas.
I did.
You know what?
We should just ask Patrick. He probably has all 16 of them already written.
True. And Rand recorded with a drum machine. So this will be the easiest album for me ever.
Hey, Andy, just speaking of which, are you, do Do you have like your new electro drum set up? Do you like use it?
Yeah, I use
regularly?
it. I just need to get. I am not electronically inclined whatsoever. I know I need to get a preamp of some sort so I can run it through my laptop so I can play along with things and also record from it.
Oh yeah.
So I got to get that figured out
'Cause
eventually.
I want you to figure something out for what's that first song on year 5?
Tholian Web.
Going web.
Yeah, because I know that what I have is sort of too long of a build, and I agree with that. So I want you to like play with that and figure something out.
So it's just still something that kind of builds, but a little more.
And I'm thinking I might like cut the third verse and move it toward like the coda part at the end.
Okay.
So that the beginning part is shorter. That it kicks into the faster part quicker, maybe after the second verse instead of the third.
So
Look at
just
all these like semi non spoilers I'm giving for anybody who's like trying to figure out this.
Yeah.
It's gonna have verses, and it's gonna have a build, and
What?
he said something about a coda.
What's a coda?
We're doing codas now.
CODA coda.
All right, Noah. However long you decide to make the build in Tholian Web, I am going to make the build in Turnabout Intruder twice as long. So keep that in mind.
Okay, where does the Turnabout Intruder come on the album?
It's the last song.
Last time.
I'm not worried about it then.
Oh wait, what's the second song?
I don't know.
Whoever has the second song, I'm gonna make the build twice as long.
I have second song.
Is that Wink of an Eye? Maybe? I don't know.
We're gonna make a secret track that's the second song.
Oh God.
You only hear it the first time through the album. The second time you don't hear it.
Yeah, when you hit play and it's on 0, you have to rewind it.
There you go. Track
Oh, man.
99.
Old school. Well, we should probably mention, if we're going to plug something, we should probably plug the Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Five Year Mission as a Patreon. I am currently doing the 12 Days of Christmas. And I'm posting something for our patrons every day, starting 3 days ago, 4 days. Today's the fourth day. And on
Well,
Christmas,
as of this recording.
I had no plan when I started this, and I just was like, oh, I'll post something for 12 days going up to Christmas. And then it occurred to me I needed to go along with the song and have like, the second day I had to have 2 of something, and the third day the 3 of something.
Mm-hmm.
So
you started yourself on a
Screwed
dangerous
yourself.
path.
so every day I'm like, okay, now what can I do for 4? And so if you're not on our Patreon, there's going to be a lot of stuff on there. Never before seen. There's already a ton of never before seen stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, if you,
I can attest. It's good stuff.
yeah.
It's good
Well,
stuff.
plus
We
if you-
filmed a lot of ourselves over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Way more than I remember us filming ourselves.
Way more than I remember.
Way more than I
more.
remember. So there's just a lot of stuff, and I just can't believe it exists, but it does. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, then you get first dibs on some wacky antics of
Some
recorded
stuff that you can't see anywhere else because we only put it on there.
And that's
Not to mention, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get if you are at an admiral level, you get a personalized video from one member of the band once a month.
Yeah.
And maybe
actually,
someday it'll be from the whole band if we can
when
get
we're
together.
actually able to get back together again, then it'll probably be from more of us.
Multiples.
We have a lot of fun making those personalized videos each month too.
We do.
I've baked bread. I've juggled. I've played with dogs. I've been driving around with my kids in the car in some of them. You guys have played.
Chris and I have sat on a hay bale together.
Yeah.
I covered Amok Time and Space Seed,
Yes, you did.
and they were both terrible.
I don't know if covered,
I
is
covered
the best word.
Enemy Within and something else.
Oh, your Enemy Within was so bad, Chris.
That was on purpose.
I could barely make it to the end.
If you guys want to see any of that, head over to patreon.com/5yearmission. That's the number 5 year mission, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. If you could join from any level all the way up to Admiral, and then you'll actually be one of the producers of this podcast up at the Admiral level. So yeah, head on over there. Thanks to Trek Geeks for hosting this as usual, even though we haven't had an episode out in a little over a month, but we're back at it. We got some things coming up. I am currently attempting to edit together all of the 24 hours of FARC hourly updates, so that should be up here pretty soon as well. But until then, stay tuned, and we'll be back again here very, very soon with some more goofy He-Man, Thundercats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shenanigans. So goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.
See ya.
I'm out.
And bye.
I sure want to leave. I sure want to leave.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5 Year Mission, the podcast. If any of you are interested in listening to more of our music, you can check us out on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes or pretty much anywhere that you can listen to music. Just search for 5 Year Mission and we should be the first thing that comes up. If you would like to contact us in regards to the podcast or anything else that you want to talk to us about, you can email us at 5yearmissionband@gmail.com.
And for more information about the band, you can go to 5yearmission.net. And also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
5 Year Mission, the podcast, is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.